And let me tell you, it was a circus to say the least.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of Brian Harsin talking. He appeared on the Next Round yesterday, and here is Brian Harsin.
Couple months. So from a professional standpoint, I've been really proud of our football team to see the guys come together and to see this staff, as we went through some tough times, and to see guys step up and lead and really bring the team together. So that's something that we have always felt here is really important, that you have a player-driven team and guys on the team are leading to make that happen. So we got a chance to see that. Personally, one of the most difficult times that my family and I have ever been through, really. And, just some of the things that were played out on social media, some of the attacks, the information that were baseless, and kind of dealing with that is something that, my family and I have never been through. And, one of the things for me, just as a coach, like, this is something that you understand as part of the profession, right? You're going to get scrutinized for things you do on the field and maybe other things with recruiting and all the other stuff that comes with it. But just some of the things that my family and I went through, it just went too far at the end of the day. And, when it was all said and done and everybody moved on, it still is left some scars and some things that we're dealing with. And, the one thing I'll say about my family is they're awesome. They are very tough. This was something for us that we had to go through. And so I'm really proud of them. I'm proud of my wife. And, she's the rock star, all right, of the family. And she's the one that, has to deal with helping our kids and the things that we do just in the Harsin household. And so, it's just been a time of being really, really proud of our team, dealing with some things with our family. And then at the same time, just getting ready for where we are right now, just moving forward and not looking back. That's really where we are right now. We're just moving forward. Today is the first day of spring practice. Our guys have been working extremely hard to get ready for this day in the weight room, their conditioning, all those things. And, right now it's our opportunity to step on the field this afternoon and go out there and just play football.
Brian Harsin talking about how tough it was to hear everything and go through everything that he had to go through.
Yeah, it was very difficult. A lot of, all the stuff was baseless. It was just basically some idiots on social media who were trying to get rid of Brian Harsin because he lost to Alabama, basically, and didn't win the bowl game. Because I guarantee you, if he had beaten Alabama and won the bowl game, those same morons, and they should be called morons for the rest of their days, would have been, buying the T-shirts and the DVDs and shouting from the rooftops that Brian Harsin was going to take the state of Alabama away from Nick Saban and that Nick Saban was losing it and this and that. But because they dropped a heartbreaker to Alabama, because they didn't win the bowl game, and because they lost five in a row to end the season, most of them leading in the second half, there was a lot of people that thought he was a bad fit and he needed to move on. And he may be a bad fit, but again, I said it repeatedly, you can't judge a guy on 1 year. That's not the way you do it when you hire a new coach. Because guess what? They're being hired because you didn't like the previous regiment and there were some issues. You have to let the guy get his dudes in there and at least try to turn the program around. Chad Morris got fired in 2 years. We understand that. And Ed Ogeron got fired 2 years after a national championship.
But the Chad Morris situation in Arkansas was completely
different. It was just horrific. I told you repeatedly, I never got that feeling watching his teams play at Auburn in the first year that they were that bad.
Chad Morris's teams just quit.
Well, they were awful. I told you. I saw when Mac Jones had his first ever start at Alabama when Tua Tagovailoa got hurt against Tennessee again and was out with the ankle surgery, and Mac went out, and I think he went 22 of 26 or something, and Alabama eviscerated Arkansas and Bryant-Denny. That Arkansas team was as bad as some of the Vanderbilt teams that we've seen, maybe worse. They were horrible. You never thought that Auburn was disconnected like that under Harsin. They played their butts off against Alabama. you know, and that Houston team was pretty good. They played in the bowl game that they just couldn't finish.
Chad Morris's teams, they were never in games
Oh,
to begin
they were
with.
just brutally bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe one of them lost to Vanderbilt. I mean, it was just horrible.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I mean, but no, and I know they were gnashing their teeth over recruiting, but you got to let the guy work. I think even in this climate, you need to give a guy at least 3 years to see if he can get you to a bowl game or get you to contending. So to me, if you're going to hire Brian Harsin, you've got to give him an opportunity. Let him get his guys in there. He didn't like the makeup of his staff, you know, when he came down here. I mean, you know, he's got his own ideas. He thinks his Boise State staff, a lot of those guys are still with him, can win in the SEC. He may be proven wrong. He may run into a brick wall again, but he still deserves an opportunity to try to win at Auburn.
He did go on to say that there's a lot of stuff out there referring to social media
Right.
that's just like the sewer that you got to be very careful of. He said when this was over, the mob just moves on. They're just on to their next victim. They're on to the next thing. They're on to whatever they're going to talk about next. And so you're dealing with it. Sometimes in these situations, it just takes some time. And that is alluding to the social media attack, Twitter, Facebook, wherever, that Brian Harsin had to endure throughout the off season. One other college football note that we do want to mention, and that is JT Daniels. We didn't get a chance to mention this yesterday.
Did he find a home?
He hasn't found a home.
Oh.
But Georgia quarterback JT Daniels, here's his plan.
Uh-huh.
He's going to stay at Georgia through spring football.
Did he just not take part, right?
Right. So he can graduate from Georgia this spring.
Right.
He did take a visit to Oregon State.
Nice.
And he did say that Missouri and West Virginia are expected to be in the mix.
Nice. Hope his nerves can take it. You know, that's all I'm going to say. How interesting would that be if he goes to Mizzou? Because remember, their quarterback also left, Connor Bazelak.
Where did he end up? I can't remember.
No, I lost track. All these freaking quarterbacks leaving. I don't know where he went. I just know he left. And Mizzou brought in a highly touted kid in their recruiting class. But yeah, Connor Bazelak. I can't remember where he ended up. He may not have found a home yet.
No, he. Let's see if we can find where did Connor end up?
Yeah.
Indiana.
Oh,
Connor Bazelak went to Indiana.
Oh, there you go.
He's from Ohio.
Yeah, he can
so
go
he
play
went
for
back
Tom
to the
Allen.
Midwest. Yeah, so he went back to he went back to his Midwest roots. He's gone back to Indiana. So Missouri, I don't know. JT Daniels ends up in Missouri. What are the odds that he's a starting quarterback at West Virginia, Missouri, or Oregon State?
I don't know. I think he's the most overrated quarterback I think I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
He is third school.
Yeah, I mean, he never did much at Georgia, even though, you know, he had a couple of decent games where he threw for 300 yards, and, of course, the Dog fans all thought he was going to win the Heisman, which, you know, never came to fruition. And
Well, they thought he was going to win the Heisman before he even threw a pass for Georgia.
oh, I know. It was ridiculous, even though another quarterback that beat him out, who's now at Pitt, Keon Slovis beat him out at USC, and that's why he had to leave. But that was always the caveat that the Georgia fans left out. You know, they acted like it was a conspiracy that he lost the job at USC. But I mean, hey, now the Georgia fans, at least they can put their Herschel Walker DVDs and posters up, and and they don't have to look at them anymore. And they're actually national champions only because Alabama got everybody hurt. But just understand that.
You had to put that in there.
Always going to. Always going to.
had
The better football team didn't win.
Oh,
If Alabama's
come
healthy,
on.
Alabama
The better
wins by 2
team
touchdowns.
won. The better team won.
The healthier team won. Yeah, they were the better team by the time, J-Mo went down. But again, I think everybody knows. Go back and watch it a month before and who got their tails whipped. over in Atlanta. I think we always know that. And deep down, Georgia fans with a functioning brain would know it too, that the only reason they won the game is because Alabama's injury report, and it's the only reason they'd ever win it, and they won't win it for another 40 years. You can book that too. I'll go ahead and say it on air.
I hope we're still doing this show in 40 years to find out whether or not Georgia.
The only guarantee I'm going to make for the college football season in 2022 is that the Georgia Bulldogs ain't winning the national championship. I'll go ahead and tell you that.
Okay.
See ya. All right. You better treasure everything. You better bubble wrap it all.
Well, Georgia is in the mix to get one Arch Manning, as is 2 other schools, 3 other schools, 4 other schools. Arch Manning will visit Georgia this weekend. He's going to be visiting Georgia this weekend for spring football. He's going to be at Texas on March 24th. And I only bring this up because Boaz native, former North Alabama quarterback, A.J. Milwee has a huge hand in recruiting Arch Manning to the University of Texas. Steve Sarkisian has had, obviously, a great relationship with Arch Manning and his family, but he is relying heavily on A.J. Milwee, the former Boaz Pirate quarterback, former UNA quarterback, former UNA graduate assistant, former Akron. Yeah, the youngest offensive coordinator in college football when he was at Akron as the coordinator